Okay. So you end up going to the Naval Academy.
I did.
And was that really the plan, to really have a lifetime career in the military, or were you just sort of unsure at that time?
I'd always wanted to I always wanted to serve in the military. I was a pilot. I soloed when I was 16, got my license when I was 17, planned to be a military pilot. Applied to both Air Force and Navy. I got in at both. I went to Navy. I liked the Navy, but I didn't really like the Academy. And so I left after 3 semesters, and I went to Hillsdale College. And it was actually, I remember the spring of my freshman year, plebe year at the Naval Academy. As much as a military geek historian that I was, I didn't really know much of the SEAL teams. And I remember the 2 SEAL liaison officers came and gave the presentation. They said, described what SEAL teams do. And this is in the 80s, where nobody really knew what the SEAL teams did. But they said, if you want to come and PT with us, exercise with us, come to this field the next morning at 5:30. And I showed up. They said, okay, today we're just going to run a mile. Get a partner. Put them on your shoulders. I was hooked.
Okay.
And I left the academy knowing that I wanted to go in the SEAL teams. And so I rolled to Hillsdale College, started right away the next semester, like 2 weeks after I left the academy, and kind of worked to build a resume to get back into OCS, Officer Candidate School, and be a SEAL officer. And that's what I did.
Well, right. So you became a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
Did the training almost kill you, or no?
It was a good program. It's a great program that it makes you reach deep down inside yourself.
Well, being a SEAL, you were deployed in a whole bunch of places. Haiti, the Middle East, the Balkans.
Yep.
You were part of the Yugoslav wars.
Weren't there for much of it, no. But the carrier, we were on a carrier. We were doing combat search and rescue and standby for targeting, that kind of stuff to support the air wing on board the carrier.
I mean, during your deployments as a SEAL, what do you think was the most serious situations that you got into?
Look, that was not a time of combat, not like the post-2001 combat that the military saw. I would say the actuarially, we planned for 50% casualties swimming into Haiti, not because of enemy fire, but because the water was so contaminated. Swimming into Cap Haitian Harbor on the north coast of Haiti, an area of 2.5 million people with no sewage treatment.
Wow.
Normally when you do amphibious reconnaissance, you want to be really low in the water and very, very tactical.
Yeah, not so.
Extra flotation, you don't want the water splashing in your mouth.
That's crazy.
We had so many vaccinations that I couldn't give blood for 5 years after that.
Wow. Okay. Was it during the time that you started thinking about, private training for military personnel and so forth?
The SEAL teams have been using private facilities since the 1970s, really.
Okay.
And we used one in Mississippi. While I was training up for those deployments, and no one had ever done it on an industrial scale. And then kind of seeing the horrible job that the UN peacekeeping forces did, the non-functioning job, and knowing what special operations kind of units needed. When I'd planned to stay for 10, 12 years or so in the Navy, kind of the good years to be a SEAL officer. And then once I was going to be more desk-born, I was going to get out and go work with my dad. But my dad died unexpectedly in 95 of a heart attack, and my wife got cancer a few months later at 29. And so I got out to sort that out, both family business situation and obviously my home situation. And because of my dad's success and knowing what special operations units needed, I knew they needed a training facility. And so that became Blackwater.
Right. Your dad passes away, you leave the military.
I didn't leave early. I just left at the end of my obligation cycle.
Okay, got it. And then you moved to Virginia Beach.
Well, I was stationed there.
You were stationed there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're already there.
I was stationed on the East Coast, SEAL Team 8.
Okay. So in Virginia Beach, you bought 6,000 acres.
7.
And the Great Dismal Swamp of North Carolina.
About 3,100 to start,
Okay.
and then added a few pieces to add more buffer.
Okay, and that's where you're formulating Blackwater at that point.
Correct.
Okay, 6,000 acres in that region. How much did that cost you?
The original 3,000 acres cost $900,000.
Okay, good amount of money, but you have tons of land now.
And you wanted extra. You want enough land if you're going to run a training facility and shoot. Well, we ended up shooting 1.2 million rounds a month.
Okay.
You want to have enough buffer that you're sure that no rounds are going to leave the property.
Okay, and the Blackwater name, that came from the bogs that were around?
So the Blackwater property is on the southern end of the Great Dismal Swamp. Actually, an area that was originally surveyed by George Washington.
Okay.
Because he was a surveyor. And it is as flat as your kitchen table. And so there's a buildup of probably a meter's worth of organic soil. When the rain comes through that, by the time it makes it to the ditch, the water's black. And we really learned that clearly when we're putting in drainage culverts and in roads, et cetera, and our skin is getting dyed black. And the logo, the bear paw logo with the reticle, actually came from we had to put in about 5 miles worth of power lines. And within days of putting in the power poles, the bears were coming out of the woods and ripping. Oh, yeah. Big bear, the bigger the bear, the higher up he could reach. It was impressive. Big ripping claw marks on those poles, marking their turf.
I mean, if you look at how much money you spent total to just set up Blackwater, how much would you say that was?
The initial investment was about $5 million.
Okay. Was that all your money, or did you get investors?
I was the sole investor.
The sole investor. Okay, so basically the money that came from your dad's business being sold, you reinvested it into Blackwater.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
That's why I said, because of my dad's success, I was able to do something like that. Because it was an era of bases being closed, ranges being closed. There was a major range facility in America being closed pretty much every week on a base somewhere.
Okay.
So it was definitely counterintuitive. All the smart investment managers said this was a terrible idea.